So go ahead. Live small. You can do it. It's your choice. Right? We are always at a point of choice. I've noticed lately that there has been a certain amount of generalized fear going along in certain communities, and a certain amount of generalized joy going around in other communities. And one of the things that struck me about this is that in each community, you're making a choice of how you are going to experience life. In this community, for the most part, although I won't say always, there's a feeling of a little bit of tension, perhaps anxiety, about way things are going in life at the moment. And that's maybe true out there. I'm not going to deny that that has a possibility. But it shouldn't, and doesn't have to, affect how we choose to experience life. You see, you can choose to live small. You can choose to let the conditions that surround us, the facts that are apparent out there in the condition of the world, control how you react to the world. Now, part of this is an illusion. Okay? We say, those are the facts. Facts change. All the time. There was a time in which in Western European society, sailing east meant you were going to sail right off the end of the world. That was a fact. It wasn't the truth, but the society accepted it as a fact. This is part of the illusion we allow ourselves to accept in our lives and to begin to believe and to choose to live small. Anybody got a particular thing that's bothering them at the moment that seems to be a condition out there in the world that is limiting your choice? I got one. I call it work. And it's a matter of attitude, really it is. You know, let alone all the political stuff. Let's just lay that off the table for the moment. You know, that's people choosing to act as they want to act. That's cool. Act as you want to act. That's cool too. But in our personal lives, we have accepted all of the beliefs that we have accepted that have brought us to this moment right now. As Reverend Bill likes to say, if you want to know what you believe, look at your life. It is a topographical map of what you believe, because that's what you're experiencing in your life. A lot of times we have this ability to create illusions about what it is that is controlling us and how we're going to live. Most of those illusions are based in fear. Some of them are not, but most of them are based in fear. Right? If I do that, I'll lose my job. If I do that, that person won't love me. If I do that, add whatever part of it you want. And what that is an illusion that allows you to contract from the experience of life, from the wholeness of life, from the absolutely glorious expression of life that you are. Most of us, I won't say all, but most of us do not live to our fullest potential. Do not express in the world to our fullest ability. Have a tendency to hold back for fear of something, from expressing that essence in each one of us that is indeed glorious, magnificent. Occasionally we let it out. There's a moment where something happens that lets that illusion slip away and you are just authentically you doing something absolutely wonderful, and you know you're doing something wonderful. Ever have that experience? You get all warm and fuzzy and says, that was me and it just did good. Right? So there's this spark in each one of us that has the ability to do that. And those in the history of humankind who have done that consistently, we call avatars. They have changed the course of human history, of human thinking. And you can pick your own, right? Whether it be Einstein or Jesus. Whichever one you pick, their authenticity, their creativity, that spark of innate genius that lives in all of us rose to the surface in them and expressed itself in the world. And we each have that ability. So today's talk is called More Abundant Life. In some versions of the Bible, that's Life More Abundant. Whichever one. I like it as More Abundant Life. And what that is about is not necessarily getting more things, although that's okay. You know, we're all at a point of choice, and we are all on our path exactly where we're supposed to be for the development of our own individual soul into a greater expression of life. So, you know, like, if you need a car, by all means, pray for a car. That's okay. If you need to have reliable transportation and to feel secure in that transportation, pray for that. And the experience will be available too. We're big on, you can manifest stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Quite honestly, you know, people in lack and limitation make really poor philanthropists. So if you need to get what you need to feel secure, go ahead and do that. But the next step beyond that is to be able to feel secure in your life, to feel that expression of creativity that is uniquely you coming forward in your life without needing the things to validate it. See, we can all be self-validated in our lives when we allow our creativity to flow and we recognize it, going back to that thought that, you know, I just did good and I know I did good, right? And that feeling where you get to feel absolutely whole and complete for that moment. And then something happens that pulls that away. The illusions that that's not how we're supposed to be. Somebody will not like the way I did that. Something will come up that will make that a bad thing that happened rather than a good thing. How many times do we hear that self-deprecating idea, well, I shouldn't receive that gratitude and thanks and appraisal that people are giving me, you know, the applause that we get when we've done something good. Oh, it was nothing. I'm here to tell you, it was something. Indeed, it was something. But we have this false sense of needing to belittle ourselves and say, no, it wasn't me. I was just here's the spiritual version of that. It wasn't me. I was just the channel of spirit working through me. Tell you, it was you. It was you as a unique expression of a divine idea. And it's okay. I'm here to tell you that too. It's okay to feel good about doing good and being creative and being vital in life. One of the ways we talk about this, how we get to that idea of moving from living small to living large, experiencing life in its fullness, we talk about this a lot now, is change our thinking. You guys heard that once or twice? Mm-hmm. Change our thinking, change our life, right? And you'll hear this a lot in a lot of New Thought communities. Part of that is about controlling your thoughts. Has anybody ever tried to control your thoughts? Pink elephants. Did you get the image? Red walls. Did you get the image? How much control did you have over those thoughts? See, I have this idea that it's not that we can control our thinking, because thoughts are flow. There are billions and billions and billions, and even more, thoughts flowing through the consciousness of humanity. Has anybody ever had one of those great ideas you think, wow, that would be a stellar idea. If I did that, I could make millions of dollars and be set and rest. And then you just didn't do anything about it, and about a month later, somebody else did it. And you go, why didn't I do that? Well, that's because those thoughts are generally floating around in our experience, in the consciousness of humankind. So trying to control them is sort of like trying to put your finger in the spillway in California and say, this isn't going to happen. Right? It's not necessarily about controlling our thoughts. It's about choosing the thoughts that we want to reinforce and adding to the flow the positive ideas that we wish to experience in life. Because life is responding to us. The universe is responding to the general tendency of our thinking. So if you're living small, right, and you have a lot of fear about what's going on out there, or what's happening in your personal experience of life right now, you're going to tend to experience more things that reinforce the thinking that I need to contract from all this. I need to hide from all this to save myself. However, if you add into the flow of your thoughts some positive reinforcement of the truth of who you know yourself to be, you will tend to experience more things that validate that truth. And this is where changing your thinking comes along. It's not controlling your thinking, it's changing your thinking. So, anybody here have negative self-talk? In the last 15 minutes? In the last 3 minutes? Okay, yeah, like that goes along. One of the places where we can change the flow, the direction of what our thinking is doing on a general thing, is to recognize and be aware of the negative self-talk. Like right before I got up here, I said, they're not going to like me if I say this. Honest, that's what happened. I was sitting there going, do I really want to say this? And I thought, yes, I do. You know why? Because for me, this is truth. And I have to assume that when I recognize the truth, that some part of what I am saying is going to resonate with you. Otherwise, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't be here. I would be living small. So there are about 5 areas, and most of you know this because we teach this. Really invite you to come to the Practical Prayer Workshop on Saturday. It's a great foundation for changing and shifting these thoughts. Only $25, only from 12:30 to 5. You'll love it. Wonderful. Sign up today. That's my one pitch for the day. Okay, vitality. Right? That has to do with our health. I'm looking around the room and I know some people who have walked through and are walking through some health challenges, And part of our thinking can go, oh, I hurt. Or this is never going to get better. Or, I can't see my way through this. Whatever that is in regards to your life force, your expression of vitality, that's a place you can stop and say, no, you know what? My natural state is one of well-being. The natural state of the human being is one of well-being. Balance, harmony, and joy are the natural state of a human being. So you can just throw into that stream of thought that I am vital, whole, and complete, and moving into well-being now. Or make it simple. I am well. I am well, I am whole, I am complete. Whatever works for you. But notice when you have the negative thought and add to your stream of thought a positive verification of the natural thing that you wish to experience in your life, the fullness of life that you wish to experience right now. Creativity. I hear so many people say, well, I'm not creative. Got some news for you. You are creative. Whether you think so or not, you are creating your life. Now, some of us express creativity as artistic expression. Ginger's wonderful music. I'm a designer by trade. I draw and I work on computers and I do all sorts of visual arts. Other people create crafts and other people create whatever it is that they're expressing in creativity. And we seem to limit. That's the creative stuff, And I think what happens is we've identified the creative stuff as stuff that we don't actually need. Right? It's all the stuff added on to life. That's the creative side. But it's not. We create a more loving environment or a less loving environment with every word we say. We create experiences for ourselves and the people we come in contact with. We create a better world through doing the best that you can at whatever you're doing right now. So in that area, in the stream of thought, to add for your creativity is to recognize that I am creative by nature. I am inherently creative, and that creativity is seeking its perfect expression through me, for me, so that I can sit there and say, that was good, and people can go, yeah, that was good. And you can say, thank you very much. You can see how this starts to change our thinking. So okay, so you're recognizing that your nature is one of wellness. You're recognizing that creativity is flowing through you. And then we get to the one that is usually a stumbling block for a lot of people. Prosperity. That's recognizing the abundance of life, right? Where we have a problem, we may be challenged by the idea that money is good. At the very core, that's the idea. Money is good. Because we can see a lot of ways that it's used inappropriately, or what we may think of as inappropriately, but we can turn around and constrict from that flow of good in our lives that is represented by money, or by all of the other things that are out there to receive and to give that represent some kind of transaction or whatever it is. And when we close down that, we live small and we don't receive as much. Oh, I don't deserve this. They don't pay me enough. There's a lot of negativity around this. Usually we're pointing fingers at somebody else about it. Well, if they paid me what I was worth, I'd be making $1 million. Yeah, but you're not ready to accept $1 million. You know why? You're not making $1 million. It's that simple, really. When you're ready to accept $1 million for the worth of your expression as a creative individual, you'll be paid $1 million. Ain't any trick to it. It's about the consciousness and the awareness that we develop by putting into our flow of thoughts ideas that, yes, I am worthy. Just because I'm me. That's really important. It's not worthy because somebody else says you're worthy. It's worthy because you believe you're worthy, and as you believe, so it is done. When you begin to believe that you are worth more than you are now receiving, then you will begin to receive more than you are now receiving. So that's how we put those thoughts in there. It's like sometimes it's in steps. Sometimes you need to go from I am worth more to get a little bit more, to open that up. So if we've been living really small, it's like I'm worthy of having a roof over my head, right? When we get a little bigger, I'm worthy of having a better job. Then it's I'm worthy of receiving more money, or whatever the progression is. Sometimes it's very difficult to go, I've got $1 million, right? And the red flags go up and go, no, your bank account's in the negative numbers. What are you talking about? Right? So you have to work at little incremental things. But if you can come to believe that all of the good is yours right now, then guess what? You're going to start experiencing all of the good right now. And it doesn't necessarily have to be by a paycheck. Part of it is recognizing all the blessings we have in our lives. And you start with the little ones and build that idea. And think about the good that is in your life, all of it, whether it's the relationships and friends you have, whether it's the fact that you have a car or you're getting a car, or you live in a home, you live in this country, whatever it happens to be that helps foster your idea of prosperity in your life as a parent right now. And the more you think about that, the more that adds into the flow of your thoughts, and the more your tendency becomes open to receiving the good that's already available and giving of the good that you get. It's good stuff. And then there's relationships. Now, relationships can be a really challenging thing in our thought process, right? How many of you have ever previewed a conversation you haven't had yet? Yeah, man. it's going to go this way, right, or that way. And we're right down that line because our minds are very good at creating scenarios and planning out where we're going to go with those scenarios. But the reality is, when we get it, have you ever noticed when the conversation comes up, it never goes exactly the way you thought it was going to go? That ever happen? Right? Part of it is just being open to the idea that wherever you are and whatever you're doing and whatever relationship you're working within, that harmony and peace are available. Because most of us want to have harmonious relationships. Most of us. Some people thrive on chaos. I understand that, and that's cool too, because life is a package deal. It comes with all flavors. But most of us are seeking to have peaceful, harmonious, joyful, reinforcing relationships with the people we're involved in or with. And part of that thinking is maybe letting go of your pre-planned conversation and having the idea of what you want to experience at the end result of this, and then just being present for these conversations and reminding yourself in that flow of your thoughts that peace and harmony are available to me right now. They didn't go anywhere. It's always available to us. That's the key. It's always available to us, but it's up to us to turn to that, even in the heat of a perhaps discussion you're having with somebody, to be able to step back from that edge of agitation and predisposition and take a breath and remember that peace and harmony are available to me right now, and that the appropriate loving words in whatever situation that is are available to me right now, and I can express them. This is more abundant life. This is where we open our hearts and our minds to this flow of the full range of possibilities to experience a greater joy, a greater love, greater harmony, greater peace. And I invite you to experiment with it. Go out there and try it. I know it's very difficult in the middle of a challenging discussion to stop, take a breath, and change course. But the benefits are immediate. They really are. So experiment in the laboratory of your life. And the last thing I'm going to say about this is that sense of unity. So when we're trying to change our thinking, one of the things that happens is we feel alone in our efforts. We feel isolated in our experience of life. And all it takes to change that is two things. One is a recognition that we are never alone in the unity of life. We are living in this very moment with everybody else who is living. So we're not really alone, just isolated in our thoughts. We are part of the one. And the other is just a kindly smile, a word, a look, when somebody validates that we are one. When we look into eyes and say, wow, there's another human being just like me going through this, and we recognize that there is unity and love to be had right now. And that can change our awareness. You can also meditate for 30 years. I invite you to pray every day, because that's what we do. It's the avenue we take. But also smile. Take that kindness out into the world, and you will experience more of it because you believe that kindness works. We all want to have somebody be kind to us. We all want people to be loving towards us, for ourselves to be loving towards the world. And that's how we make the world a better place. The last part of this whole thing is, in the stream of thought, that's all. This whole thing that we've been talking about, it's in your head. It's all in your head. The next part of it is when it leaves your head and hits your mouth. Okay? So it's great to think all those wonderful things in your head. Let them reach the world through your words. Take it to the next level. So I invite you, as you go about your week, to keep those 5 things in mind. And to allow yourself to express those 5 things in the world, to live large. Take a chance. Be loved. I'm going to try.